Hey guys, it's Central here, back with another video on the channel, and for today we're going to be talking about an anime that I just finished watching a month ago. And that anime is Yu Yu Hakusho. Now before we do begin with our review, make sure you guys hit subscribe for more anime content and turn on post notification if you don't want to miss a video when I upload. Now, the premise of this anime is basically about a young boy by the name of Yusuke Urameshi, the main character of the series, and what happens is that he dies trying to protect a child from getting ran over by a car. And the next thing that happens after he dies is this girl by the name of Botan basically appears right in front of him, and she goes to explain Yusuke that he's given a second chance in life if he becomes a spirit realm detective. And Yusuke goes on to decide to become the spirit realm detective in order to get back to life. He undergoes this trial or process in order to get back to life. And after Yusuke gets back to life, we are then introduced to two other major characters named Hiei and Kurama. And also the first antagonist introduced in the beginning of the series named Goki. And Goki is basically this guy who has a spiritual or whatever that's called that basically sucks on the life force of kids. And so after Yusuke's battle with Goki, Yusuke had to fight Hiei. After that, we are also introduced to more of Kurama's personality, the fact that he devoted his whole life to saving his mother by sacrificing a majority of his lifespan. And as the series progresses, we then get to the major arcs of the entire Spirit Realm Detective saga, and that is the Four Saint Beast arc, which is probably one of the least arcs, if not the least arcs of this entire series that I probably didn't even bother to like that much. Now, this arc is basically about Yusuke getting a mission to get rid of the freaking bugs that were roaming around the entire city by defeating these four Saint Beasts that were mentioned. But now, that doesn't mean that the entire arc is basically bad by any means. In my opinion, it's just one of the least, if not the least, favorite arcs in the entire series, in my opinion. And my favorite parts of this arc is when Yusuke fought against Suzaku. I thought that was a really good fight to me. But other than that, I still really didn't like much about this arc. Then after the Four Saint Beast arc, we then get to the Yukina rescue arc, which is basically a girl by the name of Yukina, who is basically this girl who has lived her whole life as a hostage. And while Yukina is being held as a hostage, there's this greedy person who basically uses Yukina for his own selfish gain. But in the end, he just went up and got butchered by Hiei, so he got cooked. And in this arc, we are also introduced to one of the major villains in this series by the name of Toguro. Now, Toguro in this arc basically fought and lost to Yusuke and Kuwabara. I double quoted lost because Toguro basically pretended to lose or lost on purpose because we didn't really get to see much of his full power at this time. But after that, after this arc is the next major arc of the entire series, and that is the Dark Tournament arc. And this arc started off with Toguro inviting Yusuke and the rest of the gang, namely Kuwabara, Hiei, and Kurama, to join the Dark Tournament, and basically invited them to join it if they really wanted to beat Toguro again. And at its full power, that is. Now, I can't really remember much about the Dark Tournament, but I know I had a couple of issues with it, but overall, I think that the Dark Tournament arc is a really good arc. Although not personally my favorite arc, it's still a really good arc overall. Like, my favorite fights in this Dark Tournament arc was Hiei versus one of the Toguro, I forgot his name, but he was one of the Toguro team. And especially when Hiei masters that dragon technique, which I forgot the name of it again. I just basically forgot the name of the technique Hiei used in this. fight, but it was just my favorite. Okay. And also Yusuke's battle with Toguro. I think that was my favorite battle the entire tournament, and has some of my favorite moments in anime too. When Yusuke gets a power up after Toguro unleashes his 100% might. Those were the two my favorite in the Dark Tournament. Hiei's battle against one of the Toguro team and Yusuke versus Toguro. Oh, and also not to say that I really hated this moment, but the other thing that I also want to point out is that Genkai's death, right? Her coming back to life was pretty out of the blue to me. Like I wasn't expecting her to get get back to life or something, but it was just so unexpected to me that Genkai actually came back to life right after the tournament ended. But now, after the Dark Tournament arc, we then move on to my favorite arc in the entire series, and that is the Black Chapter arc. This arc follows by a villain by the name of Sensui, who I believe is the best villain this series has offered, in my opinion. And the premise of this arc is basically about the fact that this villain by the name of Sensui has this ambition of wiping out the entire human race by bringing down a bunch of demons, especially high-ranked demons from the demon realm, and have those demons fight the human race. Then, during this arc was also revealed that Yusuke is basically the descendant of a high-ranking demon from the demon realm, and he is an upper S-rank demon by the name of Ryzen. And after Yusuke awakens his demonkin blood, he then goes and proceeds to go toe-to-toe with Sensui after suffering from that huge defeat he just had against Sensui, and basically he actually did die, I think. But when his demonkin blood awakened within him, he goes back to life and then got to go toe-to-toe with Sensui after he got possessed by his dad. That fight goes on to be one-sided. But after that arc, Yusuke then goes on to decide that the fact that he was basically unsatisfied with that whole battle just because he wasn't the one who took care of that entire fight. It was his father possessing him. Then get to move on to the arc called the Three Kings arc, which is an arc where Yusuke goes on to the demon realm and find his way out in order to satisfy himself, because he was then again still thinking about the whole Ryzen versus Yusuke situation where he basically was unsatisfied, so he has to find a way to get his game back by going on to fight some of the strongest opponents he could ever face in the demon realm. And this arc also reveals three major S-rank demons, or you can just call them the three kings of the demon realm, by the name of Mokuro and Yomi and Ryzen. Ryzen again, which is Yusuke's father. Oh, and by the way, one thing I also wanted to point out in this arc is about Mokuro. The fact that Mokuro's name literally reminded me of another character from another series I really like, and that was Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Those two names right there, I didn't actually really expect for this anime to have that same name. I didn't really expect for this series to have a character that has the very exact same name as from another series, which I don't really hear too often about a character named Bokuro a lot. It was, in fact, I believe I only know these two characters who had the same name of Mokuro. Now, this is also another one of my negatives about the series, is that the fact that the anime was basically had a poor ending. I didn't really like the ending of this anime too much. Overall, as an entire series, I actually give this anime an 8 out of 10. If I remember correctly, I gave it that ranking in my anime list. There you have it. Those are my thoughts on the anime Yu Yu Hakusho. And I'll mention again my favorite parts of this entire anime. Hiei versus one of the Toguro team. Then again, I forgot his name. Yusuke versus Toguro. Freaking Sensui versus Yusuke. And my favorite arc being the Black Chapter arc. And my negatives, then again, were during the... Actually, also one of my least arc, the Genkai Tournament arc, which was basically about a villain by the name of Rondo. He is actually a villain in disguise during the tournament. His goal was to steal a lot of techniques from majority of the people for the tournament, especially Genkai herself. But that's basically it. I just don't really like the Rondo arc or the freaking Genkai tournament arc. One, that's actually the arc that I like even more or less than the Saint Beast arc. But overall, then again, overall, I give Yu Yu Hakusho an 8 out of 10. And there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching this Yu Yu Hakusho review. If you guys did like this video, be sure to click like and subscribe. Turn on post notification for more, and turn on post notification if you guys don't want to miss a single video when I upload. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.